Hey, are you lost? Do you need a map? Wait, what? I said, do you need a map? Good, because this is the top 10 maps in Team Fortress 2. As ever, I like to start these things off with a classic, and you don't get more classic than Dust Bowl when Team Fortress is concerned. Apart from maybe Two Fort, but we don't talk about Two Fort. Dust Bowl is to TF2 like what Dust 2 is to Counter-Strike, and what Facing Worlds is to Unreal. No matter how hard you try, you just can't get rid of it. And believe me, I have tried. With absolutely no competitive value, this map is the perfect introduction to casual TF2. Perfect for demo spam, engineer nests, and try-hard heavy medic combos. I think back to my early days of TF2, where I for some reason used to play 32 players 24/7 Dust Bowl. Oh, those were good times. But just like drinking the milk of your mother's teats and peeing in a urinal with your pants around your ankles, some things are better left as memories.
9!
At number 9, I'm including a twofer. It's Doomsday with generous helpings of Carnival of Carnage, which is of course the Halloween version of that map. These maps are the only ones in the game to feature the Capture the Flag variant known as Special Delivery, where both teams are fighting for the same intelligence. Now personally, I much prefer game modes with a single objective at any given time, such as Payload or King of the Hill. It allows teams to create a much more defined attack or defense, without having to focus on both at the same time, and, at least in this instance, it usually means less engineer nests in the intel room. I sincerely respect Valve's gutsiness to release a creative, brand new game mode idea in 2012, 5 years after the initial release of the game. And on top of that, what's more creative than bumper car minigames? Once upon a time, the TF2 developers would sink weeks of time into creating bumper car minigames and bonus ducks collectathons for very little reason other than for tellols. And I respect that. As Adam Freiberg once said, when a game is going full retard, you can only go with it. If you start going against it, if you start going half retard, you're done for.
8!
For the first time in this list, I'm choosing a map based on its merits as a good map, as opposed to its legacy or its creative gimmicks. I remember not liking Gullywash a great deal when it first came into the game. However, having now played it a lot more in a competitive setting, I appreciate everything this map has to offer. The midpoint feels extremely well balanced with a good combination of wide and tight angles, with height positions designed perfectly to complement the types of classes played in 6s: Scout, Demo, Soldier and Medic. Additionally, the second and fourth and the first and fifth points all offer something completely new. This ensures that the inevitable monotonous back and forth of 5CP is that little bit more bearable. All around, Gullywash is quite simply a good map.
7!
Warning. New players may find the following map too complicated.
Number 7 is of course CP Snowplow, originally penned to drop with the most hyped TF2 update of all time. End of the line. Featuring a literal hype train, which crashed and burned spectacularly, which resulted in what was probably one of the most disappointing updates of all time, although that was mostly due to the fact of how much it was overhyped in the first place. This map was cancelled before the update even happened, with Valve famously describing it as too complicated for new players, despite the fact that it was literally just normal attack defend, but instead of a timer, there is a percentage bar. Bear in mind, the developers who described this as too complicated are the same people who gave the go-ahead to maps such as CP Steel, RD Asteroid, and that alien one with the beer bottles and the tractor beam.
We are in the beam!
Despite this fiasco, as soon as Valve created the map workshop on Steam, this map was immediately voted into the game, where the hype train once again crashed and burned after everybody realised that it was actually quite an average map after all. Despite its mediocre play value, I felt it deserved a spot in this list because, well, I feel a bit sorry for it if I'm honest. All alone, in the cold, being complicated.
6!
Next up, we've got another map which achieves exactly what it set out to do and just be a good, solid map of its particular game mode. It's Koth Viaduct. I feel like Viaduct was consciously developed with the capture point in mind, as you would like to think that all Koth maps are, because every notable element of the map either helps to attack or defend the point. The capture point itself is raised higher than the main lanes, meaning those who have played well enough to capture the point in the first place are better equipped to hold their ground. However, the bridge and the cliff areas give a great vantage point for those willing to take the risk to stand in the open. Better still, the cliff area is designed so it can only be contested from either the point itself or the lower, more vulnerable area, essentially meaning that two cliff top snipers can't just aim for each other for the entire match and be about as useful as your average Team Fortress 2 sniper. My only criticism of this map would be its fairly low population of ammo and health boxes. However, if that means there's less chance of an engineer setting up, then I'm happy. No offense, Dane.
5.
Forsooth, I say, number 5 is the Groot Keep. It absolutely amazes me how Valve managed to take a game all about guns, remove the guns from it, add some meme-tastic text modifiers, and create a game mode which is actually extremely enjoyable. The Groot Keep is the one place in the entire world where I would say random crits are actually fair and balanced. Although saying that, it's not really that fair when you're killed by them solo capturing the last point, and I guess they're still kind of overpowered. But the point I'm trying to make is that a melee-only game mode would probably be a bit boring without them. It's a testament to Team Fortress 2's variety and creativity that a game mode with nearly 2/3 of the game's weapon content being removed is still an enjoyable thing, and it's a great place to go for some truly casual, who doth give a smithy gameplay. Although one thing I will never understand is why is this bottle of piss apparently not medieval enough? Seriously, did nobody urinate in those days?
4.
We started with a classic, and my mummy always taught me to start as I mean to go on. Arguably not good advice if directed to a serial killer, but in this case we've got another classic TF2 map. A classic of the payload variety. Badwater. It's crazy to me that once upon a time, Badwater didn't actually exist in TF2. In fact, it was nearly a year after the initial release that Badwater was added to the game. Before Badwater, there was only one payload map in the game, and that was Gold Rush. So really, we're lucky they didn't just write off the idea of payload altogether after that. Despite being an early map in the game's history, it still today holds up very well as both a great casual and competitive map. A great balance of open and confined spaces, difficult to attack choke points, and sprawling fun to follow flank routes. Badwater is the definitive template of how a payload map should be, and I'd be really surprised if the developers at Valve, as well as the community map developers, didn't frequently look at Badwater for inspiration whenever they sit down to design a new payload map. Just like Gullywash and Viaduct, Badwater achieves exactly what it set out to do: be a bloody good map.
3.
Talking of the second map of a particular game mode to be added to the game, here we have the second player destruction map ever added to the game. Pit of Death. Named as such, ironically, after this very small hole in the floor, which absolutely of course couldn't kill you. I'm joking, it's named after this giant fucking monster teeth murderous death pit! I chose this map mainly because of its aforementioned game type, player destruction. This is the only game mode in the entire game which actually requires killing of the enemy team, but it manages to do this in an extremely Team Fortress 2-ish kind of way, which also promotes team play in the form of defending your teammate who is currently carrying the most souls, as well as having a little bit of a gimmick, but not too much of a gimmick, in the form of having to score your points by depositing souls in the magic portal to hell which opens and closes on a periodic basis. Of course, being a Halloween map, it's only available for a couple of weeks of the year on official servers, and the only other player destruction map is hidden all the way down here, in the miscellaneous section, with the likes of Hydro and Snowplow. In the next major update, I would love to see a player destruction map or two added to the game, so I get to enjoy this wonderful blend of team deathmatch, team support, and objective-based gameplay all mushed into one pretty awesome game mode.
What are you looking at?
Holy Moses! Name a more beautiful map than Sweden in any competitive video game. Not including any maps in games which are basically just rip-offs of Sweden anyway. It's an enjoyable map to play on, even if it's just to take in the surroundings. It's surprising to me that there's so few other maps using this aesthetic, but the fact that it's a rarity to see a map this beautiful is probably what contributes to its status. After all, it is possible to have too much of a good thing. Like when you eat too much chocolate and you feel sick. Or if you've got too much money and there's too many attractive women who just want to sleep with you and stuff. Yeah, that must suck. Right, guys? Right? So, did you finally find what you were looking for? The best map in Team Fortress 2 was inside you all along.
There can be only one!
Every good thing I had to say about Badwater applies here, but times it by 10. Hell, times it by 100, I don't need to make maths make sense anymore. Anyone who plays payload maps regularly probably feels pretty similar to me about Upward. It's got the right balance of everything to repeatedly lead to a great TF2 experience. Every point offers a unique fight, every flank gives great opportunities to either team. Almost every inch of the map is useful in one way or another. Even battling against turtling NGs on the last point leaves you feeling like you at least have a chance. Overall, there's really nothing bad I can think to say about this map, and every time Casual Mode's disastrous matchmaker puts me in Upward, I breathe a sigh of relief. Casual Mode literally unplayable? Maybe. I mean, finding a snowplow match to get the clips for this video wasn't easy. But when it comes to Upward, we've got literally the best map in the game.
Someone told me that I'm special. If that ain't fair, I don't know what is. Someone told me I'm precious.